welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra, with me Shell Bhatnagar, and this is Market Today, a show where we'll help you understand the closing action on the day's trade. Flattish trade on the Nifty right now, about a 20 points lower, but we are holding above that 24,300 odd mark. What's buzzing? It's the oil and gas sector that's up by about 1.3%. So your OMCs are up and about. You have the broader markets that are doing well, both the small caps and the mid caps. You have consumer durables, FMCG, PSU banks, some action coming back on the IT and the metals pack. That's where the action is right now. Top movers on the Nifty, you have ONGC, BPCL, Coal India, Tata Motors, ITC, Kotak Mahindra Bank and Asian Paints. F&O big buzzers, HPCL, Balrampur Chini Mills, Aditya Birla Fashion, Polycab India. These are the top buzzers. Even within the PSU stocks, there's a lot of action right now. So beyond the oil and gas stocks, you also have stocks from the power space. The power financiers are doing very well today. Concor, stocks like BHEL, IRCTC from the railways, Steel Authority. These are the stocks that are buzzing away in trade. Good afternoon, Shell.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Thursday, the weekly expiry of Nifty. And what is good news is that from an intraday low of 24,200, the Nifty has recovered 115 points and now trading at 24,304. So on the face of it, it looks absolutely flat. But as I had mentioned in my opening comments, that you need to buy the dip if you get 24,200, and by the grace of the Almighty, you actually did. As far as the bank Nifty is concerned, we've seen a low of 51,800, and from then on the counter is at 52,160. So that's a nice 360 point uptick, although both indices continue to trade in negative zones. Nothing to be worried about. But as we had mentioned in the morning, the star of the shows, ladies and gentlemen, ahead of the national budget are government companies. Two sets of stocks are doing fantastically well. Shipping companies, on hopes that the government will set up a maritime development fund, 20% on shipping corporation. All shipbuilders are at circuits. You have 5% on Cochin Shipyard, 5% on Garden Reach, and Masgao Dock, as we talk, is about 7% higher at 57.76. All three of them will try to reclaim their previous all-time highs. Cochin and GRSC, of course, are now at circuit limit. And what's really moving is the housing sector. Remember, the government on its first day of formation said it would be constructing 3 crore new homes during its 5-year tenure, and from then on, there is absolutely no stopping HUDCO, there is no stopping NBCC, and of course the government property stocks, Hemisphere, Shipping Corporation land assets and BEML land assets. All of them are showing very, very smart gains, very heavy volumes and very good action in cash counters. Sakshi, what else is on your radar? I believe Osho has already joined us.
Yes, we have Osho Krishan now joining in. He's the Senior Research Analyst and Technical and Derivatives at Angel One. Warm welcome to you, Osho, and thank you so much for taking the time out. Do tell us, how are you playing the market right now? Are there specific stocks from these buzzing sectors, the PSU space, the shipping space, etc., where you're keeping your eye out on? Or is there an earnings-focused story that's already playing on your radar?
Very good afternoon, Sakshi and Shal, sir. Firstly, thank you for having me at your show. Well, now looking at the market sentiments, in the morning, we have a kind of a very pessimistic kind of a start where Nifty has dragged below the zone of 24,200, and specifically Bank Nifty has came below 52,000 zone. But by the day end, we have witnessed a very modest recovery, especially in the Bank Nifty space, because for Bank Nifty, 52,000 was a very critical zone, and we have seen a very decent recovery in Bank Nifty. So I think there can be some kind of consolidation can be seen in the coming period. Not very much optimistic, but consolidation sideways to positive movement can be seen in both the indices. Now coming to the thematical movers, today we have seen a lot of, as Shell sir has already covered majority of the pointers, that majorly shipping companies have seen a very drastic up move. So even my radar, I have kept some counters in my radar from the shipping companies, but unfortunately most of them are at circuit, so fresh entry at these levels will be very challenging for new participants. But overall, this the structure wise, shipping companies are looking very positive, and I am expecting that there can be a strong follow up buying that can be seen in tomorrow's session also.
Okay, got that. Well, Osho, apart from this, I also wanted to understand from you, how are you really looking at the momentum within the oil and gas story, and where is it that you are finding stocks that can carry on the momentum from today onwards?
See, basically, ONGC is in my radar, and it is one of the technical pick that I will prefer even at current levels. Firstly, it has crossed the zone of 300 and it has sustained at the higher zone from the morning session. So I'm expecting that there can be a strong movement in ONGC in the coming period. On short-term perspective, 320 is the target that I am eyeing for in ONGC, and on the lower end, it is advisable to keep a stop loss around 290 to 292 odd zone. So this is one of the counter which has seen a consolidation breakout, and I am expecting a very decent move in coming 1 to 2 trading sessions.
2:40 p.m. ladies and gentlemen, let's take a detour into the market and see what else is buzzing as far as broader statistics are concerned. Remember, the Nifty and the Bank Nifty are flat as far as the net change is concerned. We track 19 indices for you. Out of 19, you have 13 in the green, led of course by the small cap and the mid cap indices. Gains aren't very substantial, but still 0.6% on the Nifty small cap index and 0.4% on the Nifty mid cap index. Both have 100 shares in them, and out of 156 and 55 respectively are at in the green. As far as record highs are concerned, let's take a detour into that particular list. Engineers India 11% higher, 290.55. We've discussed GE Shipping early morning. You have a record high coming into Zomato, 3% higher, 217.40. Petronet LNG is buzzing with gains, 2.7% higher, almost 342. Federal Bank we've discussed often, almost 2% higher, 192.40. And of course, Grasim, ICICI Bank, Phoenix Limited, these are some of the stocks that are showing smart gains. Osho, to you, what are the charts of Zomato telling you? 217. Sakshi, I believe they had their 16th anniversary of being set up a couple of days ago, and momentum seems to be strong, which either Osho will confirm or give us a better view.
Pardon me, can you please repeat the name of the counter?
Zomato.
Zomato, yes, this counter has been in the radar because today we are witnessing a fresh breakout, and even it is moving in the uncharted territory. So I am expecting that this should continue, because on the technical time frame we have seen a very strong momentum in this counter. Once it has surged above the zone of previous swing high near about 205, 206 odd levels, and from there onwards we are witnessing a very decisive up move. So on technical charts, I am expecting that this should continue on the higher end. Although looking at the momentum, I am expecting nearly 220 to 225 to be seen as the first target or first resistance. Then there can be some kind of breather that can be seen. So the new range is from 205 to 225. This should be the immediate range for Zomato. Once we see a decisive breach on either side, then again 20-25 point of odd 25 points of odd movement we can see on either of the sides.
Okay, let me just mark Mazgaon Dock. Remember, you have 3 circuits in the shipping space, 20% on Shipping Corporation, 5% each on Garden Reach and Cochin Shipyard. Mazgaon has a circuit of 10% at 58.93. It's almost a foregone conclusion. Let's get Osho to comment on Mazgaon. At the moment, 7.6% higher and very, very heavy volumes of 2,600 crores. What are the shares of Mazgaon telling you, Osho?
See, overall, if I have to overlook the technical parameters, because majorly none of these counters are showcasing or they are waiting for the technical parameters because mostly all these counters are at the overbought zone. So from here onwards, I am expecting a very strong and decent move in all the shipping companies. So Mazdok is also a preferred pick on the higher end. On immediate basis, 58.50, 58.60 can be seen as the first or immediate target for kind of BTST kind of a bet.
Got it. Okay, one more stock that I wanted to discuss with you, Osho, is ITC. That's again up by about 1.4% higher in trade today. The FMCG stocks have been showing us some momentum of late when the markets have turned volatile. There is a section of the market investors that is shifting money to the defensive play, FMCG, pharma. But ITC, how are you looking at this momentum that is being built up? For a long haul, this was a completely sideways stock. For all those who are willing to participate in ITC in the second rung of the rally, is this the right time?
See, definitely in this counter, we have seen a sloping trend line breakout for which the breakout level was approximately around 445, 447 odd levels. And from there onwards, in the last three trading session, there has been a continuation in the uptrend. So I am expecting that this should continue on the higher end for immediately for the targets of nearly 470. Once it reaches those zones, then there can be some kind of profit booking that can be seen because as you have mentioned, after a very long period, this counter have started gaining traction. So 470 should be the zone where one should try to book their profits and wait for some kind of correction to again retest the neckline of the breakout, which will be falling around the zone of 445. And that will be providing again another opportunity to re-enter into this counter for a higher target.
Okay. The other stock, let's discuss one more stock with you, Osho, and that is Coal India. 500 odd levels right now, 2% higher in trade. Again, after some bit of consolidation, the stock is buzzing. What next for this counter that you see?
See, overall, this counter has seen a very good traction in the morning trade, and that has been backed by very strong volumes. So I am expecting that if it sustains around the same zone, 500 being the psychological mark, can be seen as the immediate hurdle. But looking at the momentum and volume that it has taken in today's session, I am expecting that this should continue on the higher end, expecting a immediate target of nearly 510 to 512. So this is the immediate target for Coal India, while on the lower end, 485 to 482 should be seen as a very strong support.
Got that. So that's Coal India for you, about 2% higher in trade at 499 odd levels. Within the broader markets also, a whole host of momentum that can be seen. Let me pull out some stocks for all our viewers to see. CDSL, of course, we know that there is this buzz bonus and that has pulled up the stock higher, 6% up right now. Then you also have stocks like Data Patterns within the defense play, that's up by about 5.5% higher. Raymond is buzzing, 5% up in trade. We have the entire sugar pack, Balrampur Chini, Sri Renuka Sugar, KCP Sugar, all of them are buzzing in trade. Then you have IFL Finance, Hoodco, NBCC, Swan Energy. These are the stocks within the broader markets beyond the shipping space, I'm saying, because we've discussed so much of shipping. That all is also momentum right now. What about these small cap stocks, Osho? Anything that catches your fancy within the small cap radar?
See, overall, as you have mentioned, some of the counters have seen a very strong movement. Like, for example, CDSL has given a very strong movement in today's session, and I'm expecting the momentum should continue in the coming future also, in the coming period also. So, the kind of a trend or reversal it has given, I am expecting that on short-term perspective, 25.40, 25.20 should be seen as a target in this counter for short-term period. There are other counters also which are looking very positive to me. For example, companies like HCC is looking very positive. It has given a very strong breakout and is hovering at the higher zone around the zone of 51, 52. So these levels also one can definitely try to accumulate this company. This counter looks very promising, and I'm expecting a target of nearly 56 to 58 from short-term perspective.
Fair point. 2:48, ladies and gentlemen. 12 plus 30, 42 minutes left in today's trade. For the moment, all the main indices are quiet unless and until you are interested in the Nifty Oil and Gas Index, up 1% at 12,783. The Nifty PSE Index, primarily composed of the same set of stocks which you see in the oil and gas sector, that's doing very well. What's dipping in trade today as far as the market is concerned in terms of indices? You'll see a red tick which is coming into the Nifty Realty Index and the Pharma Index. 1.5% down on Realty. It's composed of 10 shares. The index has 9 shares trading in the red. The Nifty Pharma Index down about 0.5%. It has 20 stocks out of 20. 13 are in the red. What's clicking and clicking with gains? 2 smart block deals happening on Zomato, 218 rupees. A smart move coming on that one, and of course IREDA. This is buzzing with gains, ladies and gentlemen, almost 13% higher. Needless to say, it's a record high. 3,700 crores worth of transactions have happened, and out of that, the 5-day average is 2,100 crores. The 10-day average is 1,800 crores. So you can well imagine the kind of activity that's happening on the long side. Because it's at a record high, I'll just avoid taking a view. I believe Asim will be with us and shortly, and then he'll be talking about the expectations from TCS. Before he does that, Osho. Okay, what we'll do is let's go to Asim. And Asim, why don't you tell us what the expectations are that the market has from Tata Consultancy Services as far as its second quarter earnings are concerned?
Thanks, sir. So the stock is trading flat ahead of its Q1 earnings set to be announced today. Analysts said TCS is expecting that FY25 would be better than FY24, and they said any commentary around discretionary spending, update on Gen AI projects, and any hint on when can TCS reach the aspirational margin range of 26 to 28% would be keenly followed. ICICI Securities expects revenue growth in constant currency terms at 1.8% quarter on quarter for TCS, led by growth in BFSI, retail and high-tech segments from the deals announced in Q1. It expects EBIT margin to decline 186 basis points on a QOQ basis on higher employee costs. The brokerage awaits management commentary on enterprise discretionary spending, fewer deal announcements in Q1, campus hiring, large deals and turnaround in BFSI. Global brokerage Nomura expects constant currency revenue growth of 1.5% quarter on quarter for TCS. It expects the BSNL project to ramp up gradually over the year. Kotak Institutional Equities expects revenue growth will be driven by a ramp up of strong order signings of earlier quarters, with their estimates including $150 million deal from the BSNL, leading to a marginal growth compared to the March 2024 quarter. The brokerage said focus will be on TCS' ability to leverage its strengths in run spends and outperform on revenue growth in FY 2025. TCS also has won quite a few mega deals which can contribute to 2.5% growth in FY 2025, the brokerage added. Back to you, Sakshi.
Thanks, Asim, for that update. And we could be actually looking at the results of TCS this time around coming within the market hours. That's what the expectation is. Usually it always comes after the market hours around 4, 5 o'clock in the evening. But seems like today there could be an early result and we may be able to see a reaction today itself. You're actually seeing that the stock was lying flattish till about 2:30 before it started to move up again, and it's off the low point of the day again. Osho, your own sense on how should one look at TCS and the other IT stocks as well?
See, overall, there will be a strong volatility expecting that the result going on. So I'm expecting that there can be a strong movement coming in the for tomorrow. So I'm expecting on the lower end there is a kind of support near 3850 and on the higher end strong resistance around 4000. But looking at the overall long straddle kind of a strategy, then approximately both the premiums for 3900 strike is approximately hovering around 160, 170 levels. So I'm expecting that there can be a spike of approximately 250 in these kind of in this strategy for the strike of 3900. So there will be volatility that can be seen in TCS for tomorrow. But overall, from a perspective of medium term or short term also, the stock is very strongly placed above all the short term moving average. So I'm not expecting that there can be any drastic downfall coming in TCS for the coming future.
Okay, got that. How about the mid-cap IT names, Osho, the likes of Birla Forge, Coforge, for instance, Verso Solutions, that's been buzzing off late a lot. Your own sense within that space?
See, overall, there are many counters which have seen very strong movement in the last two trading weeks. For example, Coforge or Emphasis has given a very strong movement. Even Persistent has given a very strong movement in the last trading week. But now there can be some kind of volatile movement, or there can be some kind of cool off that can be seen in the overall mid cap IT, because from the lower end they have emerged very strongly and now hovering at a decent resistance zone. So I'm expecting that in the coming future, there will be strong volatility related to the news flow and the result outcome. But overall, majority of the counters are at their resistance phase. So there can be some kind of profit booking that can attract to these mid-cap IT names.
Okay, got that. So that's
Actually, let's take a look at Federal Bank.
Yes, sir.
This is showing a lot of traction. There's a volume burst, 266 crores today, and needless to say, it's at a record high. This is something needs to be watched ahead of earnings. Remember, Federal Bank has a huge gold loan business as well, and we are seeing record highs on Muthoot Finance. So a lot of pluses on this one. Osho, what are the charts of Federal Bank telling you?
See, again, this counter is very strongly placed on the technical parameter. So it is on the verge of giving a very strong overbought zone. So I'm not very much optimistic looking at the technical parameters, but nowadays no technical parameter is working at all in the market. So looking at the overall trend, one should definitely try to follow the momentum on the higher end. 198, 200 should be the target that one can expect in this counter in coming 1 to 2 trading sessions.
Okay, that's the move that is coming in. And Sakshi, there's no stopping PFC and REC. I'm just marking the price 5.574 higher.
Shell, in the same breath, you should mention
on,
IRIDA.
PFC and
look at IRIDA.
we just took a view on. Yes, we just took a view on IRIDA, 14% higher.
Yes.
Has it gone up more? Okay, 14.6% higher. Sakshi, it's beyond me. इतना ज़्यादा मतलब as they say market enthusiasm and euphoria. I think the word used by Devan Bhai today in the morning was euphoria.
Yeah.
It's just much too much. I'm just marking the price. IRIDA 15% higher, very heavy volumes, 3,700 crore rupees, and that's it, ladies and gentlemen. आपके पास पोर्टफोलियो में है तो मत बेचिए, और अगर नहीं है तो प्लीज इसकी तरफ नजर मत डालिए. यू कैन नॉट बी गेटिंग इनटू अ काउंटर व्हिच हैज अप्रिशिएटेड 75% in less than 20 trading sessions. It's very, very dangerous. Osho, what do you say?
Definitely, I'm already mentioning that nowadays technical parameters are not taking any part in the market momentum. The market is having a very strong sentimental up move. So all these counters have a higher valuation, and as you have mentioned, if you have these counters in your portfolio, do keep them, trail your stop losses to higher levels, maybe 2-3% every day. You have to increase the stop losses on the higher end, but do not try to enter at current levels. The valuation wise also they are very high, and if there will be any kind of profit booking, these counter can encounter a decent correction in the coming periods.
Yeah, you know, Sakshi, IRIDA was at 190 rupees one day before election counting, June 3rd, and it is now at 270, 280,
282.
Right? 281. So 282, right? And June 4th to July 4th is 22 sessions and we are on July 11th. तो 3-4 और आप लगा लो, 2-3 छुट्टी लगा लो, तो 25 ट्रेडिंग सेशन में stock has appreciated from 190 to 280. I am very thankful. If you have it in your portfolio, it's just too dangerous.
And at an issue price of 32 rupees. That's what it had come in at from that time until now, and it was not very far ago.
वो तो भूल जाओ, वो तो भूल जाओ. Listing was 50 rupees, I think, or maybe 60 rupees. Then another 20% circuit the next day.
Yeah.
So you know, lucky
तब
are
भी हमें
those
लग
who
रहा था
have it
बड़ा
in their
जल्दी ज़्यादा
portfolio,
चल गया है,
but,
तब भी हमें लग
you
रहा
know,
था.
Yeah, because people are looking at valuations, 4-time book, 5-time book. They are not understanding the fact that in the short term, it is liquidity. It is only in the long term that earnings come into action and then market becomes a slave. But never, never, never in your life ever argue with a liquidity flow. Markets can remain irrational more than what you can remain solvent. Thankfully, Sakshi, IRIDA is not in FNO. Otherwise, people would have been buying puts and selling calls. वहाँ पे और तहलका मच जाता. So, ladies and gentlemen, when everybody is losing their heads, please have yours screwed on the top of your shoulders. Yes, these are good prices, but these are good prices only to look at. Unless you are a professional trader or you have a 10-year horizon on IRIDA, please, stay away.
Right. Okay, Osho.
Osho. Do you have a 10-year horizon on IRIDA?
Right now I don't have, sir, but looking at the market sentiments, even 1 year will be decent enough with such kind of returns.
Okay. ऐसे ही चलता रहा तो एक साल में ओशो का पैसा बन जाएगा.
मेरी बॉल को छक्का मार दिया ओशो ने.
Yes, I guess सबका पैसा बन जाएगा, so that will be the best thing.
Interesting. Okay, Osho.
Osho, what do you want to do with all this money? Will you retire early?
No, I will keep struggling in this market, sir, because looking at this market, I am expecting. I have started my career in the bullish run, and this bullish run is continuing. Like it is still going on. So I guess I have the best career opportunity till now. So that should let it continue.
Okay. Osho, you have both Osho and Krishnan in your name. With that, you have all the luck following you. There is no struggle. There only hard work and patience that pays off in the market. This is my third decade here in equities, and I am looking forward to at least 20 more decades worth of hard work, patience, and fabulous rewards. With that, thank you so much, Osho. And on the other side of this is waiting our fundamental master, Mr. Sharad Avasthi, Head of Research for the Private Client Group at Smith Securities. He lives in the most beautiful city of India, which is Kolkata. Sharad ji, namaskar. स्वागत है आपका.
नमस्कार.
बताइए क्या हाल चाल है दलाल स्ट्रीट पर. 12-12, 15% स्टॉक, 20% स्टॉक सर्किट पे लगे जा रहे हैं. कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा मेरे को भी, और आपने तो हमेशा ही डरा के रखा है कि भाई वैल्यूएशन जरा पकड़ के रखो. क्या हो रहा है दलाल स्ट्रीट पर?
देखिए, रेलवेज, रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी, फाइनेंस और डिफेंस, ये 3 सेगमेंट्स तो पहुंच के बाहर चले गए ज्यादातर लोगों के. मैं सुन रहा था आपका डिस्कशन भी, हमारे पास भी कुछ क्लाइंट्स के अकाउंट में है ये स्टॉक्स. मेरे हिसाब से अप्रैल से अभी तक एवरेज में 50 से 60% रिटर्न है ज्यादातर स्टॉक्स में. तो मैं तो समझ नहीं पा रहा कि ऐसा क्या जादू होने वाला है IRIDA में या किसी भी कंपनी में. हम लोग पहले से ये रैली प्ले आउट कर रहे थे, बट ये लास्ट के 50-60% तो थोड़ा डाइजेस्ट करना मुश्किल है मेरे लिए. या हो सकता है मैं समझ नहीं पाया इसलिए मुझे मुश्किल लग रहा है. दोनों चीजें हो सकती है. बट फ्रैंकली स्पीकिंग, अब 50, 15, 16 टाइम पे जो स्टॉक्स ट्रेड कर रहे थे अक्रॉस द बोर्ड 50 टाइम्स, 55 टाइम्स ट्रेड कर रहे हैं. बहुत वेट है शोल्डर्स पे मेरे हिसाब से। कोई भी क्वार्टरली नंबर्स में कहीं पे भी किसी भी तरीके की डिसअपॉइंटमेंट आती है तो आपको शार्प कट्स भी देखने मिल सकते हैं। तो बेटर है कि थोड़ा सा प्रॉफिट टेबल से उठाकर घर ले जाएं, क्योंकि नहीं तो पेपर मनी रह जाएगा। तो मुझे लगता है प्रॉफिट बुक करके मेजर पार्ट्स लोगों को प्रॉफिट बुक करना चाहिए स्पेस में। डिफेंस में एज इट इज नहीं लगता कि ये लीनियर रहेगा। डिफेंस इज नॉट अ लीनियर बिजनेस, इंटरनेशनली इट्स नॉट अ लीनियर बिजनेस। आई वाज सीइंग सम रिपोर्ट्स इन टर्म्स ऑफ कंपैरिजन कि क्या वैल्यूएशंस पे ग्लोबली वी आर ट्रेडिंग फॉर मोस्ट ऑफ द कैपिटल गुड्स, डिफेंस स्टोरीज, इवन एरोप्लेन इंजीनियरिंग एटसेट्रा, and we are at our normal valuations. So I cannot understand, but it's okay. As you rightly said, liquidity can draw things mad. So I think that's probably playing out. But the concentration is a bit risky. I think it's better to take some money off the table in these bits.
Okay, that's the wise word coming in. Take some money off the table if you can. Take benefit of this bull run and this momentary, spark or euphoria that you're seeing in the markets as of now. Sharadji, good afternoon to you. Despite all this run up, like you're saying, rails, renewable energy, defense, this is beyond us at this point in time. But we are at the cusp of looking at earnings to begin with, and just about a week from now, we will have the big trigger, that's the union budget. So, for all those looking to invest in markets even at these levels, what are you advising and how are you advising them?
See, in terms of triggers, I think yes, the budget is being touted as one big trigger that we are looking at, and the focus would largely be around the general category, maybe some focus on rural, a bit of focus on infra consumption, some tax tinkering on the positive side, and think that would largely be the theme. Renewables would continue to be the theme, but as I said, most of the renewable stocks seem to have run up way ahead of our reach. So within that, I think MTAR could be a very good story that we are betting on. They have space. They are working on data center space, nuclear power. They have this tie-up with Bloom for hydrolyzers. So for hydrogen, if something positive comes up, it should largely come up because that is considered as the best alternate fuel that we can look at. Obviously, there are some challenges that prices need to drop by around 30-40% for hydrogen production to make it very viable. But globally, a lot of innovation is going into it, and it is now more or less an accepted technology. Many companies are coming up with hydrolyzer facilities over the next, 1.5 year. Reliance, Adani. So I think all this should play out very well for MTAR, and all the 3-4 segments: nuclear, data centers, and even this renewable energy, particularly hydrogen. I think these could grow, and they have some footprint in the space research space also. Along with ISRO, they have some tie-ups. So I think propellers, etc. So I think that's very advantageous for them. Long term, I think it should be very well. It has not done much in the recent past, rather has corrected, and I think the quarterly numbers have disappointed. And even the US business could see a very sharp turnaround post elections there. So next 2 or 3 quarters should be very interesting, and long term, obviously, most of the businesses they are into seem like decadal opportunities. So MTAR could be a very good opportunity you could look at. And as a sector, I think renewable could continue to be the sector that you need to look at. Barring that, most of the infrastructure stocks have also rallied up. So I don't think you have a lot of opportunity there. You could do some cherry picking within the IT space. That's been a bit subdued. And I think HDFC again gives you a good opportunity within the large cap space, to create some positions because of this quarterly updates that has come in. But I think there is a rebalancing act playing there because of the legacy deposit structure. So once they realign that, I think the quarterly numbers could surprise you on the positive side. So I think HDFC Bank could be a good bet among the large caps. MTAR could be a good bet based on the budget. And what else? And the real, we were looking at Avalon Tech. I think that looks like a good EMS story. There is a lot of margin improvement that can play out as they switch, the manpower cost from US to India. So these are 3-4 stories that we are looking at. I think these are good stories to bet on.
So from your side, we are adding MTAR Tech and Avalon Technologies in our list of deep value stocks which you feel make sense. I'm just again reiterating some of the stocks that Sharadji has let us know which makes sense for him even at current levels. There's Prince Pipe, 0.5% higher today, 679. Sheila Foam, 2.2% higher, 1034. He likes Coforge, today down 1.8%, 5565. And of course, Polyplex, 0.8% lower today at 1027. He's also marked, if I remember correctly, IKEO, 306 at 1.7% higher. These are the ones that I can offhand remember in the list of deep value stocks that I have for all sensible stock pickers that come on Business Today television. I hope I got the names right, sir. I'm adding MTAR and Avalon today against your name.
Yeah. Largely, most of them are there. I think you could add Idea Force to that as a good multi-bagger idea.
Okay. Idea Forge is buzzing today. I think it's up 5% at 834. What's the story behind Idea Forge, sir?
Sir, Idea Forge is largely a deep tech UAV kind of company. So if you consider the type of penetration they have in India, every 5 minutes a drone takes off or lands, which is made by them. And this is totally indigenously developed technology. The whole drone industry is expected to grow by 4-5 times, over the next 5 to 6 years. And since this is indigenously developed technology, a lot of e-commerce is already getting acceptance for using drones. A lot of technology and a lot of the regulations around use of drones is getting allowed globally. They are also entering into US, which is a much larger market compared to India for drones. And all these 3-4 things combined, I think that they've already done some capex for the recent IPO proceeds. I think they are placed to grow along with the industry trend. 4-5 times should not be very difficult. So I think the earnings trajectory could be very interesting for this company over the next 1 or 2 years. And for stories like this, which can grow at 40-50% over a longer time frame of 4 to 5 years, I think getting 40-50 kind of multiples will not be very difficult. So this could be a very strong story that I'm looking at. I think the broader story is very strong. Like we spoke about MTAR, the data center story is very strong, which can have multifold rise, and they could benefit out of that. So similarly, Idea Forge, I think being a market leader, indigenously developed technologies, and the capex is already complete. So that it could be a very high growth story over the next 3 to 4 years.
Okay, high growth story over the next 3 to 4 years. We'll continue to keep an eye out on Idea Forge and the rest of the stocks that Mr. Vasti has shared with us. Let's again look at some of the pockets beyond the defense space also. Earnings perspective, IT to kickstart the earnings today. Are you positive about the kind of earnings that can come in from the IT majors, be it the large caps or the mid cap IT names this time around? Or will there be another disappointing quarter, but one needs to have patience and in fact use this opportunity to start building onto these stocks? How would you advise?
Yeah. So I missed out on the quarterly numbers in our last discussion. So I think, quarterly numbers this time around, the expectation buildup is very low across the industry. For IT, it's even low. I think the major trigger that we are looking at is that what is the forward commentary these guys come out with. We are expecting that there is some improvement on the field in the US, and it is like the first stage where deceleration is stopping. I think even the employment numbers that are coming out and the consultants you are hearing from them, I think the deceleration is not happening. Maybe they're not filling up positions at that pace. But I think this quarter onwards, the mood should change. In case we do see a rate cut in the US, within the next 3 to 4 months, there is a high probability that the mood around US would substantially change vis-a-vis what we are seeing right now. BFSI remains a slow burner. I think there has not been a very rapid growth there, particularly in US and Europe. So once the rate cut cycle begins and the recessionary fears are totally dropped, there is a high probability that those two areas should pick up. So that should be very positive for IT. So in terms of quarterly numbers, broadly, don't expect too much from the quarterly numbers. And the only positive part is that you are not expecting too much. So the point of you being disappointed is very low. On the flip side, we have seen even if we don't consider the correction on election results and polls, I think even then we are up by around 5 to 7%. And so that is something that might make valuations a bit stretched. But in terms of result expectations, I don't think the market is expecting anything great. The big deal wins and the conversions, how it happens for particularly for IT, I think that is something we are looking at. Most of the companies are reporting very muted, constant currency numbers, anything between 2 to 3%, 1 to 2% kind of growth on a QOQ basis. So I think expectation buildup is not much, but the commentary that the managements make after the results, I think that should be the key trigger point to look at. And what I'm expecting is that most of the commentary should be positive. The only thing is that I believe IT has seen a smart pullback. So might be you might not see much of a reaction this time around after the quarterly results. But we are certainly placed for much better times within IT over the next 2 to 3 quarters.
Fair point. Weekly expiry today. Let's just pay some attention on the Nifty, which is now in the green, ladies and gentlemen. We have 16 minutes left. Will there be a sharp spurt towards close? Let's hope so. You have 24,326 on the Nifty. A very sharp recovery from the day's low of 24,200. So that's about 125 points higher intraday low. And the bank Nifty is also in the green. 52,290. It's recovered from a low of 51,800. So that's 200 plus 290, 500 point kind of an uptick that you are seeing. There is nothing much in terms of pullers and draggers because the index itself is flat, but ITC taking it away 1.7% higher. When was the last time you saw ITC as the top contributor to Nifty's gain? And we have just the right man with us. Sharadji is from Kolkata, where ITC is headquartered. Sharadji, till about 5-7 days ago, ITC was available at the price where its British parent BAT divested a major stake. What do you think is ITC offering at 458, 450? Is this something that you are looking at positively?
Yeah, we have been positive on it for some time. I think the recent correction prices around 400, 420 offered a decent entry point. Even if you consider very nascent 10-15% kind of growth rate, 10 to 12% kind of PAT growth for the company over the next 2-3 years, I think even if it trades at 25 to 30 times, 20 into 27, you could be looking at 540, 550 kind of levels, and still it would be one of the cheapest FMCG stocks to bet on. And the hotel divestment offers you another opportunity. It gives you another demerged entity. So I think it's a very positive development. The FMCG business has been doing very well. Cigarettes is largely a non-challenge business, but it continues to grow at a decent rate. We have an unorganized sector or a parallel economy kind of sector working within cigarettes, the unorganized or the illicit part basically. So I think that remains a challenge how the government addresses it. But there also, I think there is a lot of growth. At times, there is the ESG overhang or the overhang that, in the developed world, most probably smoking is coming down. But I think India is far away from being a developed country right now. So that is far beyond our reach right now. We are what, $3,000 per capita. US is what, $60,000-$70,000 per capita. So it's a long way to go that we mature as deciding not to smoke. So I think even that business will continue to grow. And within that, I think the FMCG business should do very well. The paper business should do very well. And there could be some re-rating down the line because the rural uptick has been strong. So yeah, I think ITC is a good bet for initial targets of around 550. And if the optimism does swell into something else, you could even get 30 times, so around 600, 610.
Sharadji, were you in the market when ITC Bhadrachalam was a separate listed entity, as was ITC Hotels, or was that before you entered equities?
No, sir, I've been associated with equity since 97, 98. So I believe these are events after that only.
Okay. So you saw those listings, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the story, ladies and gentlemen. ITC merged with itself 3 companies, which is ITC Bhadrachalam, India's largest paper manufacturing company, and ITC Hotels, which is probably the third largest chain of hotels. Long ago, there was a company called ITC Peregrine, which was also listed, and they merged it with the parent in a bid to show that the cigarette revenues, while being substantial, are not the majority business. And look at it from this point of view, after 25 years, they are slowly demerging these entities from the parent to provide more value to shareholders. So in the markets, actually, life comes to a full circle. Companies merge and demerge their subsidiaries. Look at Raymond today. It separated its consumer business. It was known as India's best textile play at one point of time, and now they believe that their main business is real estate. Such is life, and such is the exciting lives that all of us lead in stock markets. 10 minutes to go for the market to shut shop. ITC taking it away at 4:59. Sakshi, what are you watching?
I wanted to discuss the cement space with Sharad ji, especially after the recent upgrades that Ambuja has got from Nomura, and of course a lot of mergers, acquisitions that are now taking place. How are you looking at the cement story unfolding, sir? The large caps like Ultratech, Grasim, vis-a-vis the mid-cap cement makers which were rallying off late, and where do you think that investors can put in money for the long haul to take the best part of the journey with them?
So I think it is very simple that the kind of growth we are looking at in terms of civil infrastructure and real estate and urbanization, cement would continue to be in a sweet spot in the country. Obviously, at times you have some problems regarding limestone reserves or petcoke prices, how they behave internationally. I think those are intermediate challenges that we'll keep seeing on and off. Largely on the petcoke prices globally, I think that has been a pain point after the Russia-Ukraine tensions because of shifting of bases in Europe, etc. But I think gradually that is settling down, and in the long term, I don't see that as a very big pain point. And demand should continue to be very robust. And with this entrance of Adani, I think it has become more or less a duopoly kind of market, while other players will remain substantial. But in terms of valuation, I think if you are looking at valuation comfort within the larger players, I think maybe an ACC could be a good bet based on operational efficiency that they garner from here on. And if purely on a valuation uptick, I think Dalmia Bharat would remain my top pick among the larger players. They have around 40-45 MT. They're acquiring some JP plants. In addition, the target to take it up to 70-75 MTPA. The valuation is somewhere around $80-90 per ton, EV per ton. And I think the size at which they are, they should get easily $120 per ton. So that would be a cool 35% to 40% upside from current levels, and then we'll look at it beyond that. But I think Dalmia Bharat is one company that could receive substantial uptick. The concentration of some capacities in South and Eastern India does downplay on the valuations. But I think the way it is changing, I think it would lead to an uptick in valuation in Dalmia Bharat. Operational matrices are all in place. The second part could be the smaller companies where there are efficient large companies. Might not be ideal takeover targets. So there, I think JK Lakshmi Cement remains my top bet. They have always been operationally superior to most of the companies. The capacities are decent. The valuations are at a discount to most companies within that size basket. So I think JK Lakshmi would be a very good bet. If you are looking at something that could get acquired by either of the two larger players, Ultratech or Adani, I think then most probably you could have some smaller companies. Heidelberg would certainly be on the block, so that is why you've seen much fascination there. Orient keeps talking about, either getting Orient Cement about being taken over, this, that. So I think that's a different story. You need to look at what news is coming out, not coming out, and based on that, you can take a call. But purely in terms of valuation, I think Dalmia Bharat large ones and the smaller companies, I think JK Lakshmi Cement does make the cut.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have 8 minutes left. The market is slowly inching up, 24,336 on the Nifty, and a decent now uptick from day's low is phenomenal, although the index is doing pretty much nothing. let's just pay attention to the kind of movements that happened backed by volumes as far as the Nifty is concerned on its weekly expiry day. And I'm talking about cash volumes. On the Nifty, you see a very decent buzz in Coal India. 1.97 crore shares are traded. The counter is up 2%. This is 2.2 times the volume traded for 5 days. BPCL in thick action, 200% higher volume today over the 5-day average. TCS is earnings boy, is also showing decently above average volumes. Asian Paints and ONGC also in thick trade. What is weakening on heavy volume? Well, it's just Nestle, nothing to be worried about at all. How about NSE 500? Okay, we've talked about GE shipping quite a lot. This is something that I marked early morning. Sona Comstar, 4% higher. This is an auto ancillary dealing with the EV space, and the entire focus of the government of India at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, is on EV and hybrids. 718 for you. 1 crore 9 lakh shares are traded. This is 8 times the 5-day average. Similarly, another auto ancillary, TI India, is buzzing with greens, as also are counters like Engineers India, 10% higher, 7 times the 5-day average. And of course, MRPL, Indigo Paints, Cholamandalam Finance, and of course Tata Elxsi. Sakshi, what are you watching?
Well, there's a lot of momentum that's building even within the sugar space. So just wanted to take Mr. Awasthi's opinion right there. Is there enough and more action that can continue to unfold ahead of the budget and beyond that as well? There is again rising expectation that ethanol blending could be coming up from the budget perspective. The entire space is a buzz. Bajaj Hindustan, Andhra Sugar, 5-6% high in trade. Balrampur Chini, look at Bannari Amar Sugar. All of them are buzzing in trade. What are you doing with the sugar space stocks? Are you playing the momentum or are you staying away?
No, I think not across the board. We would not like to play the momentum across the board. It is largely based on news flow. And I think in terms of valuation, it's most of the stocks are fairly to fully valued. And we can't see many long-term triggers beyond ethanol blending. And most of the ethanol blending re-rating that had to happen in the sector has already happened. And the factor means that in any case, 50% of the volume should still be dependent on sugar. There are some expectations that ethanol blendings could go up to abnormal levels with flex fuel kind of arrangements, but I think that's some time away. It's not going to be something that is going to happen at a very fast clip. So I think at these valuations, not across the board, but I think Balrampur does make the cut because of the new capex that they're doing and diversifying into a new product stream. I think that leaves you with some long-term triggers for the stock to get re-rated further, and even the numbers could improve beyond the ethanol story. So I think being a purely commoditized play, I would continue to look at Balrampur specifically because of the capex that they're undertaking. Rest of the stocks, I think, yeah, we could have a pre-budget euphoria, all that, but I don't think there's much to read into it.
Okay. Apart from this sugar space, the other space that I wanted your attention was in the insurance space also, Sharadji. I have discussed this before, but recently we've actually seen the new business premium uptake coming in for the term insurance players, a hike in premium, and the stocks have actually started to buzz again. So LIC is at 1060, HDFC Life, SBI Life, the private players, ICICI Pru, they have also started to move again. But is this something that gives you a confidence to take a bet now?
No, I've always been confident about the insurance space, particularly with the Indian demography, etc., and the type of penetration levels that we have. Even in life insurance, I think the penetration levels are still nascent, and there is a lot of space to grow. LIC always has been very attractive in terms of valuation to me since the IPO, and I still think it has scope. Even if it trades at 1.5 times embedded value, the fair valuation could be somewhere around 13.50 on the stock. So there is some upside still left in LIC. And I think beyond that, re-rating could play some result in some more re-rating for the stock. Their entry into non-life business, if that does percolate, because right now we don't have any confirmation, but if that does happen, I think that could be a big trigger for them also. And I think otherwise, the private companies, I'm very bullish on HDFC Life. We have targets of around what 750. I think that could be for SBI Life. There could be another 20% kind of upside, 1700, 1800 kind of targets. Max could be a good story you could look at. Generally, I'm very positive on the LIGI space, though GI I would like to avoid considering the speed at which natural catastrophes are happening, and occasionally you have flash flood issues, etc., that could dent your earnings. But even reinsurance premiums went up over the last 1.5 year post-COVID era. So I think that's the general insurance part that's a bit challenging right now for the smaller players or medium-sized players. And that could remain a challenge. But the pure LI players, I think I would be more bullish. I don't think we are looking at something like COVID again anytime in the near future. And valuations are comfortable. I think LIC, obviously, I'm most bullish on. Add to that HDFC for targets of around 725, 750.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, there's a minute to go as far as Thursday's weekly expiry of the Nifty is concerned. It's passed off very peacefully, 21 points higher, 24,304, 344. Remember, last Thursday it was 24,304. So 40 points higher. The Nifty has done nothing. It's just consolidated over the last 4 or 5 trading sessions, just waiting for triggers to emerge for it to either go up or come down. This is the 6th week of very strong gains on the Nifty, although the last one was flat. This is the consolidating phase. But while Nifty and Bank Nifty have been quiet today, there is a sea change as far as cash counters are concerned. Shipping stocks, railway stocks, defense stocks, the entire PSU chain is abuzz with gains and on very, very heavy volumes. That has to be noted. We are now just 7 sessions away from the budget, which will be declared on July 23rd, and the momentum across the board is very strong. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you are uncomfortable with this price rise, it's best to remain on the sideways. Do not fight with liquidity and do not short this market. Sakshi.
Sharat ji, thank you so much for being with us on this special edition and sharing wonderful insights like you always do. We will catch you again soon around the budget to understand what is going to be the next course of action in the markets for our viewers and investors. 12 points higher on the Nifty, so that's a relief. After a day's lower close, we have the Nifty back into the green, albeit just about a flattish close with a positive bias. 24,337 on the Nifty right now. When we look at the Nifty Bank, that is also shut shop at about 0.2% uptake in trade today at 52,305 odd levels. Sectorally, oil and gas rallied sharply, 1.3% higher. Media stocks did well in trade today, 1.1% higher. The broader markets, small caps and the mid caps, were definitely in action today. Consumer durables also pulled up pace with the stocks like Polycab, etc., also moving up in trade today. FMCG, ITC really pulled up the FMCG pack higher in trade as well. So barring auto, pharma, realty, these 3 sectors, rest of the sectors, they all managed to end up into the green in trade today. Let's look at the top gainers: oil and gas, oil and natural gas, Coal India, BPCL, ITC, Tata Motors and Asian Paints. These are the stocks that were seen buzzing. On the downside, you have Tata Consumer Products, Divi's Laboratories, Bajaj Finance, and also stocks like M&M and Sun Pharma that dragged in the overall sentiment today. PSU stocks were in thick action. Over 1% higher is what it is seeing its close today. Beyond the oil and gas names, you have REC, PFC, Coal India, you have BHEL, Container Corp, HAL, the Shipping Corporation stock as well, and the entire basket of shipping stocks. So SCI, you Garden Reach, GE Shipping, Cochin Shipyard, Mazagon Dock, GRS, you name it. All of these stocks were buzzing, many of them at upper circuits also in trade. Look at Shipping Corporation, a 20% upper circuit. So it was the turn of Shipping Corporation today to take that lead. With that, viewers, we wrap it up at that. Many thanks for tuning in onto this special edition. But do stay tuned as the action continues beyond the stock market hours, even on Business Today television. Thank you so much.
rousing welcome to the Indian Prime Minister in true Vienna style. A Vande Mataram rendition by the choir and orchestra led by another Indian, 57-year-old Vijay Upadhyay, the director of Vienna University Philharmonie. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi posted on X. Austria is known for its vibrant musical culture. I got a glimpse of it thanks to this amazing rendition of Vande Mataram.